Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today. I am Richard Mota, Government House Communications Director. We are gathered here at Government House in St. Croix for an exciting and momentous occasion as Governor Albert Bryan Jr. prepares to announce a landmark partnership that will have a transformative impact on the Virgin Islands and the broader Caribbean region. This initiative represents a major step forward in advancing our regional, economic development, trade relations, and transportation connectivity. It also creates new opportunities for the people of the Virgin Islands and strengthens our role as a vital player in the Caribbean economy. Governor Bryan will share more about this historic collaboration shortly, and I assure you, this is just the beginning of a new chapter for St. Croix and the USVI as we move forward a more prosperous and interconnected future. Today, you will also hear from Anthony Weeks, USVI Special Economic Envoy and President and Managing Director of SEDI, Inc., Raphael D'Angeli, Vice Chairman of Connect Caribe, Chief Executive Officer and Technical Director of CARICOM Private Sector Organization. Dr. Patrick Antoine was supposed to join us virtually, but unfortunately we have some technical issues with that connection, and so we sincerely apologize for that. And of course, the Honorable Governor Albert Bryan Jr. We also have some other very important stakeholders who we would like to acknowledge today as well. Mr. Brendan Mohammed, President of the Cargo Division for Connect Caribe. Rudy Rampersad, Board Member of Connect Caribe and Chief Operating Officer of Ramps Logistics. Alex Koutsekis, I'm sorry, Mr. Koutsekis, Owner, President of Petromar International and Principal Member of St. Croix Shipyards, LLC. Kenneth Schuster, President of Global Engagement Support Services and Principal Member of St. Croix Shipyards, LLC. Attorney Scott McChain, Esquire, of McChain Ham Law Firm and Vice President of SEDI, Inc. Mr. John Clendenin, President and CEO of IC Group and IC Logistics. Also, Ambassador Althea Wiggins, Special Envoy to Suriname and Guyana for the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley. We also have Ambassador Dr. Andre Thomas, Chairman and CEO of Connect Caribe, and the rest of the Connect Caribe team. We appreciate you for joining us both here in person and virtually. Thank you, and now I'll turn over the conference to Mr. Weeks. Mr. Weeks.
Thank you, Richard. So, over a year ago, we started this mission, this journey. When the governor appointed me as Special Economic Envoy, I made a commitment to him to really position the U.S. Virgin Islands, particularly on St. Croix, as a major industrial hub. There's precedence there because obviously for 60 years, we've had a major a driver of the economy, which was the refinery, and they're in the process of trying to restart. But this is why it's important. There are 50 states in the United States, but there is a special designation of St. Croix in so many different ways on a federal level. And we have not done what I think we should be doing in terms of leveraging St. Croix to be the juggernaut it should be in the global market. So a year ago, Governor Albert and myself and some other delegates, we went to the New York Stock Exchange, met the senior level executives there. We also went to Taiwan. We have the special relationship with Taiwan. And then a year ago, we also had the summit here. Today, momentous occasion is an extension of that. And what does it mean? My colleague and I, Attorney Scott McChain, we founded the St. Croix Economic Development Initiative. And we felt, while we look at this local economic situation, it was important to position the U.S. Virgin Islands to be a major force facilitating trade, commerce, and capital markets. And so I'm pleased to announce today, formally, that we've created a public-private partnership, a macroeconomic development policy initiative called the Caribbean America's Single Economy. Why is that important? Back in 1989, CARICOM commissioned a study to create the Caribbean single market and economy. CARICOM is a 15-member state which include Guyana and Suriname, even though they're in South America. The U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico are authorized to participate as observer in CARICOM. We can't be a member state. Coincidentally, while I was driving the private sector side of the discussion, Governor Bryan was doing the government-to-government drafting of the technical document for a relationship between the U.S. Virgin Islands and CARICOM. And today is that landmark, historic event where, going forward, we are now going to we're going to build the maritime network. The players that you see here today are the players that are going to be responsible for building that maritime network throughout the entire Caribbean. So literally, when we talk about the United States being a contiguous state, bridges, tunnels, highways, water ferries, what we're literally doing now, we're building this network of passenger and cargo ferry that will connect all of the Caribbean coming from South America, Suriname, up to the U.S. Virgin Islands. They're going to be three major hubs: Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. And the reason that's important, we're going to open markets on both sides. We're going to represent companies that want to do business within the United States. We are the hub. St. Croix becomes the hub where all of those activities will take place. And vice versa, companies want to do business in the Caribbean, this would be the hub as well. And the governor's going to talk a little bit about that. But I want to be able to bring up my colleague, Raphael DeAngelis. He's the vice chair of Connect Caribe, but also he's also the chair of the New York Upturn Fund. They're the investment banking firm that's responsible on the governmental and private sector side to talk about where the money's going to come from to build out these initiatives. So I want to be able to call up my colleague, Raphael, to the podium.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Governor. 3 years ago, we had a vision in New York with Dr. Thomas in how can you bring the Caribbean people together? How can we bring economic prosperity for this region? And we identified one key element that is fundamental for success: connectivity. The reason that economic prosperity hasn't happened in this region is for the lack of connectivity. So we thought, wow, what if we start creating routes of boats and we create a project called Connect Caribe that people could simply go from one island to the other, or more important, produce a product in one island and ship to the other at a very low cost. So what it started as an ambitious project is start taking shape first within the Caribbean region, and then eventually evolved to the leadership of the governor of the Virgin Islands into saying this is actually aligned with our proposition in the region. And for that reason, it's why we're here today. It's actually the biggest consequence of what we're creating here. It's a change of culture. Instead of looking at the islands as separate elements of an organism, we start looking as one. The same way every successful country in the world looked at each other. The United States is the United States. What we're trying to create here is the united countries of the Caribbean with the leadership of the Virgin Islands and certain other region. It has been a dream of mine and a dream of Dr. Thomas. And we got so far on this, but we need the United States leadership into actually creating the dynamic, the economic dynamic across the region. We have talked to shipping companies to guarantee them a rate between countries as low as ground rate for standard express packages. So that will boost e-commerce platform across the region in a $4 billion business estimated by CARICOM today. And we're really looking forward to start that going using St. Croix as our major point of interconnectivity between the United States and the Caribbean community. I guess you come.
Thank you, Mr. Weeks, and thank you, Mr. Angeli. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I introduce the Honorable Governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, Governor Albert Bryan, Jr. Governor.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us here today as we embark on yet another initiative aimed on capitalizing on the tremendous opportunities presented by the U.S. Virgin Islands strategic location, particularly the development of our blue economy here on St. Croix. Yesterday, we had the launch of Department of Education's first two major projects in St. Thomas with the rebuild of the Charlton Mali High School and the Bertha C. Bushelta renovation. It was very well attended. People are all excited about it. We also are celebrating the launch and the continuous wins for USVI rebuild, which is $8 billion worth of contracts. We now have actually awarded the project management piece of that. One of the billion-dollar contracts is just about to be awarded. And then we also have, actually was awarded already for the rebuild of, I think, 6 St. Thomas schools. And we have the one for St. John that's supposed to be going out presently, if it's not out already. So a lot of excitement around recovery, infrastructure in those projects. But the thing is, what happens after all of that, after all that federal money is done? How do we create sustainability? What is beyond all of the construction projects and everything that will ensue? See, from the very beginning of my administration, I've emphasized the importance of harnessing the potential of not only our maritime resources, but also our Caribbean resources. In my first address, I mentioned, for too long we have governed with our backs to the water. Today's signing of this memorandum of understanding is just one more step forward in ensuring that we turn toward the water and take full advantage of the economic benefits that lie within our reach. Today's partnership with Connect Caribe, a subsidiary of Plion Group of Barbados, represents a major move in strategy to grow the territory's blue economy and tap into the vast transshipment opportunities that exist in this region. Through this MOU, we're launching a lot of things, but I want you to recognize the significance of what we have here. We have government leadership connecting with CARICOM and other Caribbean islands. As you know, I've been making a lot of moves introducing ourselves to our Eastern Caribbean partners, but you also have the private sector interconnecting. Later on today at Government House, we will be having the openings cocktail for the South Shore Investor Trade Roundtable. Why is this significant? Because this is just another piece of putting together the future of St. Croix and essentially the future of the Virgin Islands. The real economic growth that's left to be seen is on the Big Island. We've been saying this for years, but now we have pieces coming together. We have a refinery owner that really has a broad outlook on what we could do with the property, including refining. We have the South Shore Free Trade Zone economic policy piece that is in place, which looks at how do we import products, add value to them, and export them. We have the Renaissance Group that is looking at the sale of that property, and we're working with them hand in glove to make sure that we facilitate it in a way that promotes economic growth. And then we have this MOU going on today, which is really the first major move in terms of developing that area and seeking to form trade alliances with our Caribbean partners. Big day, huge day. I really want to thank Anthony Weeks for the work that he has done on this. He has been working at this for quite some time. And the conversation has been around for quite some time. But we now have access to the investors that want to look at these properties, want to look at St. Croix as a worthy investment for the future. Adding to that, the things that we're doing around energy to support the pieces, especially on St. Croix in terms of manufacturing and value-added products. We are also making a lot of other moves in terms of bringing the Caribbean closer together, whether that be our work with CTO and working to find ways to connect the Caribbean through ferries, through air, and through direct flights. The growth of the Caribbean as a region is all tied together, and we want to be the center of that initiative. So I want to thank my partners that came out today for the signing of this MOU, because there's some effective business, what we will say, foundations that will be set here, not only for the Plion Group and Connect Caribe, but also for the rest of the Caribbean that is watching to see what is going on. What will this allow us to do? more business on business, business to business dealings, more communication with business people in the Caribbean, and absolutely coming together to go to Washington and promote the Caribbean as an economic initiative on a whole to the nation. One of the things that we've been trying to do is to create an economic initiative for the Caribbean through both the Trump administration and the Biden administration. And this partnership helps us puts us closer to that. In the Caribbean, the Virgin Islands is often isolated. It's not a part of what is going on. But there's so much that this MOU is going to allow us to do together, whether it's manufacturing, agriculture, energy, education and training, even healthcare, workforce development, which we are huge on now. We have so much work to do. But direct investment in our economy with the people of the Caribbean is so important. Lastly, I want to say, I think what is important about this is the development of homegrown enterprises. You know, the people that raised me and the people that laid the groundwork for who we are today develop a middle-class economy in the Virgin Islands using the government. Created government jobs in order to employ people. They encourage young people to join the government and stay in the government and work 30 years. We are embarking on a new Virgin Islands economic framework. It's a framework where Virgin Islanders should be the ones who are building the hotels, starting the businesses, doing the construction companies, not by themselves, but with partners, but certainly as players to the table that allow for our economic growth. So I really want to say thank you again to Anthony, Raphael, for leading this. It's a tremendous piece of work today, and encourage people to come to our investor roundtable tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, all day long. We're going to have investors touring the South Shore Economic Trade Zone to look at different things that we have to offer there. This is going to be at the Port Authority, and I'm sure these gentlemen and ladies will be there as well to bring on a new era in economic development for the island of St. Croix and for the Virgin Islands government. Thank you. All right, I think that's it for us. We're going to sign this document and make it official.